of the topic environmental concern and factors which affect the environment. In this topic, a little bit explanation I will give on what are the environmental concerns at the international, national and regional level. We all know that the environment gets affected. So what will be the effect on the national level, international and regional level? So we know that in the last 2 decades, what is the first thing given here? That in the last 2 decades, we can say 2 decades or more, the people have become more conscious about the environment. And the greenhouse effect, global warming, famines, drought have directly influenced every nation. So now we talk about environment, and the reason is the education. People are more educated now. Due to education and the promotion of environmental concerned programs, people have become more aware, and therefore we are talking about the environment frequently. So why do we talk about? Because the human activities are affecting the environment. The human activity is selfishly degrading. The smallest unit of a habitat which is occupied by an organism is called a niche. So this is a technical term, but in environmental studies, it means the unit of a habitat which is occupied by an organism. So niche will be if there is a plant, then it is living in a it is growing in a forest area, and the area in which it is growing, that is called a niche. The habitat niche means the physical space occupied by the organism. So this is the explanation of the niche. The niche means the smallest unit of a habitat you occupied by an organism, and the habitat niche means the physical space where you are living. So we all use the resources according to our need, but it is important that when we require any resource, then we have to understand to handle them carefully. During this handling, the human beings affect the environment, and many rare species are destroyed by the humans. So we all know that the technology helps to find new resources, but if we are finding new resources, we cannot entirely depend on the resource, or we cannot depend on the technology. The commercial actions done for maximization of our well-being lead to degraded conditions. We are part of the large ecological system, and we don't have the right to chart. So we human beings are considered to be the main cause of the environment pollution. We can bring lot of changes leading to the improvement of the environmental condition, and in this the pollution and the sources of pollution can be minimized. How can we minimize? By the growth also, so that we are growing also and we are not causing pollution by using alternate sources of energy. So first way is using alternate sources, treating the waste, recycling and reusing. So the 3 R's which are most common in EVS are these: alternate sources, using more and more alternate source, treating of the waste, recycling and reusing. Our concern for the present is attention for improving the environment and for the future. So why are we talking about conserving the environment? Because we want to improve the future. We don't want the future to be dark, and we bring down long-term changes for the better. So our short-term interest in improving our surrounding merges with our long-term. This is a technical thing here, that when we talk about short-term interest, we need something from the environment, then it affects the long-term also. So like in that chapter, we will read what are the international effects. So first comes here, the international environmental concerns. So there is a wide concern everywhere in the world. The quest for higher standard of living has increased in the entire world. People want to live high standard, and in the entire world, the population is increasing, there is urbanization, people are talking about living in the cities. Due to this, the individual countries have taken steps for the controlling the environmental deterioration. Some of the important factors which have to be kept. So whenever we want growth in any environment, we have to first talk about the health of human beings. If there is growth but there is no talking about the health of any human being, then it is useless. So the first thing about environment is talking about the growth, the health of the human beings. If the health of the human being is taken care, then the growth can be considered best. Second point is balance. Ecological balance should be maintained. Ecological balance in the water, wind and land. So this is second point. First was the growth, the health of the human beings, then the balance in nature. Assess the harmful effect of industries on the environment. The third thing, we are using the resources, so we have to keep in mind that what are the harmful effects on the environment. That is the third point. Next, to assess the cumulative effect of waste and other pollutants. What is the effect of the waste on the environment and the surroundings? Next point, the issues are to be dealt with wide geographical scale. We cannot say that India will have less pollution and the neighboring countries will not have, because everyone is interrelated. So we have to deal with it in the wider and bigger scale. Then the problems of global concern can be dealt within the overall settings and countries. So what is the national environmental concern? How do we talk about the national concern? Many national environmental bodies were set up, and in 1970 there were laws also passed for the environment protection. There have been many policies laid down by the government to protect. So what are the different rules made? The first is the Water Act of 1974, which is called the Prevention and Control of Pollution of Water. Then the Air Act of 1981. So you'd see that these laws which are there are more than 40-50 years old laws. These laws were made. Then why are we talking about pollution today also? Why the pollution has not been reduced? So in this topic we are reading that why this is still continuing. There is another law, the Environmental Protection Law of 1986. Then the Global Environment Monitoring System, GEMS. Then the Ganga Action Plan. These are some of the laws and the programs which were started by the government at that time, and they were made to assess, to check how much pollution is there, to give measures for controlling the pollution, and to lay down standards and rules so that the future generation is not affected. Then the CPCB, the Central Pollution Control Board, which is called CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board. It has the power and it advises the government on pollution. It gives suggestions on how to reduce the pollution. So there are, first we are reading how are the national, how it is pollution is tackled in the national way. Even the state or an officer of the state is empowered to take steps. Now normally we don't know that what are the laws of the local government or the local authorities for the pollution. The state or an officer is empowered to take steps for improvement of the condition of the state. So like at the state level we can say the DM or the district magistrate. He is authorized and he is told to ensure the conditions of the state. Here we are talking about environment. A major concern was to control the industrial pollution, and a law of 1993 was the Industrial Pollution Control, where to identify the polluting industries. And there were laws made in 1993 by the government, like environment auditing of industries. Whenever any industry is made, then they have to get their industry checked by the government, where the industry is checked for how much pollution they are causing. they are adopting clean technologies or not. That what are the steps being taken by the industry. Environmental statistics, mapping, environmental impact assessment, environmental education, training, information. These were the laws and the points in this under this act. And effluent treatment plants had to be set up. So this environmental awareness thing is not a new thing. It is something which is which is happening from a long time, but we are more aware now because the environmental awareness has increased. Then there is a law which is the Common Effluent Treatment Plant CETP, Common Effluent Treatment Plant. Concessions for the control of water pollution, identification of critically polluting industries. So what does this organization do? It identifies that which are the industries which are highly polluting. And air pollution is mostly contributed by the motor vehicles. So at that time, what was the first step taken? It was done to ensure CNG. CNG was ensured in many cities, and one example was in Delhi when CNG was implemented. Most of the vehicles which were running on on the petrol and diesel, they were ordered to change their engine, and those who changed their engine, they were allowed to continue. Those who did not, their vehicle was seized and they were not allowed to use that vehicle because the pollution increased. Since then, so many years have passed, and there were many various laws. One of the nationwide program was in 1984. It was called the NAAQM, National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring. So these full short forms you should know. And this program's aim was to assess how much is the requirement for assessing the nature of air. What should be done to assess the quality of air, and how can we improve the quality of the air. This program was operated through State Pollution Control Board, and there are different organizations which were controlling it. The State Pollution Control Board, the National Environment Engineering, NERI, these names are asked in the question. National Environmental Engineering Research Institute. There are different places in India. Some are in one place in Nagpur and in Delhi. These organizations established to meet some of the objectives. They had to determine the quality of air, to assess the health hazard which can be dangerous. So what is the importance of these organizations which are mentioned? Their work was to check how much is the effect on the environment, what can be done to control the pollution, and this was at the national level. At the regional environmental concerns, different regions may face different kinds of pollution depending upon the city. So every city will not have same pollution. Cities will have pollution according to their setup. The industries, if they are more found in a particular area, such as degradation, environmental problems of degradation, deforestation, pollution, etc. So that is at the regional level. Some of the you can say some of the states will have less pollution. Some of the states will have more pollution of a chemical, more pollution of air. So like this place in Agra, in the Taj Mahal, was Taj Mahal in the news earlier also and today also because of the pollution. One of the major step was initiation of Chipko movement. This started in at that time it was Uttar Pradesh, but in Uttarakhand now, and it was started to protect the trees. So people of that area, they did not want the forest to be cut. So this was a regional level. So in this portion of this chapter, we are reading about the regional level pollution concern of the people. Many people clung to the trees and they told that we will not allow the government to cut the trees. It was also called as silent non-violent protest. People did not fight, they just covered a tree, and the people who are cutting, they were not allowed to cut the trees. This was called the Chipko movement. and it was started by Dr. Sundarlal Bhavana. Then in Uttar Pradesh, monument like Taj Mahal. So what happened in Uttar Pradesh? There is the monument Taj Mahal is there, but there are a lot of industries which were situated near Taj Mahal. So they used to like there are refineries and there are industries. So they used to produce large amount of pollution. This pollution would cause acidic gases in the air, and these gases in the air would surround the city, and whenever there would be rain, the acidic gases would dissolve in the rain and the rainwater will fall down. When the rain will fall on Taj Mahal is marble, the acidic water would react with the marble and it will change the color of marble. You must have seen at home also, if you are using acids in your washrooms, then it makes the area yellowish in color. Same thing happened with this Taj Mahal. So a step was taken. The industries which were near the Taj Mahal, they were closed or they were allowed to switch their use of energy. So this was the regional level. The maintenance and improvement of the quality of environment along with the fulfillment. So what is the solution? We can't say we will close all the industries, but we have to fulfill the need, both essential and feasible. And many factors are there which affect the environment, like population growth, overexploitation and industrialization. So there are many factors which affect the environment of any place. If we talk about Taj Mahal, the area near Taj Mahal, or if we talk about area near any in any state, then the first factor will be what is the population there, how much resources are being used, and how many industries are there. So there has to be a balance of this, and this affects the environment of a place. So in this portion, the next point is the population growth, how the population affects the environment of a place. The whole number of inhabitants. Now, what is the meaning of population? Before we go into how the population affects, first, what is the meaning of population? The number of individuals occupying an area and continuously is modified by increase. Population means how many people are living in an area and are changing because of the birth and immigration and death. Three things affect the population of any place: how many new children are born, how many people are coming to that place or leaving that place, and third, how many people are dying. This makes the population. This is the definition of population. The size of the population is limited by the supply of food, effect of disease, and other factors. Whenever there is a rise in population, it increases the level of poverty in our country. So why does the population affect poverty? Because if there are more people, then more resources will be required. And because the population increases, so the poverty of the country, because less people will get the resources. As we don't have sufficient resources to feed, due to this, people find it difficult to survive and they start manipulating their environment by selling firewood from the forest. This is one of the effects, that if more and more people are living in an area and they are not getting the resources, then they will start managing or manipulating the environment by selling. The one of the thing is they will start using the forest, cut the forest and use it for selling the wood in the forest, because it is no one is there to check. And some of the serious effect of rise in population is increase in the number of people. There will be shortage of natural resources, coal and petroleum. There will be shortage of not only coal but electricity also, place of living also. Human culture also gets affected by the concept of ecosystem, which undergoes a change as many animals and plants will become extinct. Whenever there is growth in the population of human beings, there is effect on the environment. The gap between the rich and poor widens. So rich people have more resources, so they keep on acquiring assets and they become more rich, and the poor are not able to, therefore they are not able to change their lifestyle, and therefore the gap widens. So this first effect of population is seen on the environment, which is described till here. After this, the next thing which affects the environment is the over exploitation of resources. So what is the over exploitation of resources? We will continue in the next class. Check the explanation of the next portion at the end of this video. And if you have any comment or suggestions on the content and on the topic, type below this video, and we will take the suggestion. And see you in the next class. Goodbye.